that we've interacted a bit with our print function, I think we're ready to handle our ASCII art. And today we'll be rendering this cute little elephant with various print commands in Python. So the first step to doing any amount of ASCII art is to add some grid lines to the image that you're trying to render, which I've gone ahead and done for us. So here you see our little elephant, but with grid lines placed over the elephant so we can see where a character is and how many spaces we need to leave blank before the next character occurs. So this image will be what we'll be using in order to code inside of REPL. If I can pull up my screen and place them side by side, I'll be able to glance at the image that I need and then type the print statement I'll be needing over here in my text editor. So let's begin with the print statement. And what's going to go in this first print statement needs to be the top of the elephant. We can see here that the top of the elephant is 2 underscores, followed by 5 blank spaces, and then 2 more underscores. Now technically there are blank spaces that come after the underscores, but remember that as soon as we're done with that first print statement, our cursor will move to the next line, and it won't matter if we've put the blank spaces there or not. It won't be perceivable. So the only thing we need to do is have our 2 underscores, 5 blank spaces, and 2 underscores, but we do need to figure out the number of spaces we need to come before the first 2 underscores if we want each line to be aligned properly. It looks like from examining our diagram that there are 10 blank spaces before we hit those underscores. So we need to put our quotations here, 10 spaces, 2 underscores, 5 spaces, 2 underscores, and we're done with that first line. And we see that top of the elephant get printed to the screen. Now one thing to be aware of, I've shrunk my screen quite a bit to make it sit side by side with the elephant so we won't have to go back and forth. However, this print line has run over into the next business. Look how my numbering scheme is trying to help me here. It doesn't label this as the second line of the program. The fact that this is a slightly different background color than this line right here, and the fact that the number 2 is down here is indicating to me that I haven't really broken a line yet by hitting enter on my keyboard. What I'm seeing is just a wraparound from the first line of the code because I have such a small window here. Now that I'm ready, however, to move on to the next line of the elephant, I need to hit enter and start my next print statement. Quotation marks. I count here that I should have 9 spaces before I see this /, and then picking up the pattern is fairly straightforward from here. So let's enter 9 spaces, a /, 2 spaces, a backslash, 3 tildes, forward space, 2 spaces, and a backslash. Now, focus real closely. It's somewhat difficult to see here, but notice that the characters in my string literal on this previous line are all a deep red color. This backslash that I've typed right here has just turned into a pink color, and I can see one little start of this red squiggle of death coming here. So something is going on here that we'll need to understand. There's a short-term solution, which is to add a space here. That backslash reverts to that deep red color, the red squiggle of death goes away, and everything works beautifully. But let's go back to where we had that change. Every now and again, as we're coding, we're going to come to a unique problem, which is that certain characters on the keyboard have a special meaning in the Python programming language. One such example of that is the quotation mark. What would happen if I wanted to actually print a quotation mark to the screen? I might think that the answer would look something like this. Put my 2 quotation marks for my string literal right here, and then put a quotation mark in between. First of all, I struggle to even get that in the Python programming language because each time I type a quotation, it tries to type another quotation with me. This expression right here, 3 quotations in a row, where what I mean as the programmer is I want you to print one of these quotations to the screen, the computer doesn't understand that because it sees the start of a quotation and the first time it encounters another set of quotes, it thinks, ah, the string literal is over. It then views this extra quotation mark as extra and thinks that there's an actual problem there. And this is troublesome because how else are we going to communicate to the computer that we actually want to print a quotation mark to the screen? That seems like something we might want to do. To fix this problem, programming languages have created a special character called the escape character that helps you escape just for a moment from being interpreted in the programming language. So for example, if I want to be typing something along and then all of a sudden say, pause for a moment, compiler, I don't mean this in Python terms, I mean this more in an English language sense. The escape character that we have in the Python programming language is the backslash, and that's actually common amongst many other programming languages as well. But that backslash is saying, for a moment, stop reading like a computer and read this literally. So the way we would solve the triple quotation problem is to come in here and put a backslash in front of the quotes. So the reason that this is changing color up in line 2 here is that I've put the backslash in front of the quotes. Instead of being read as a backslash, this is being read as the escape character, and Python is taking a break then, so the very next character encountered by the compiler is being interpreted as an English quote and not as part of the Python programming language. So the little red squiggle of death that I'm experiencing here is saying I can't find another quote to match the end of this one. That's why if we added a space after the backslash, now the compiler knows that the backslash is actually meant to be there and is not being used in the sense as the escape character. And so that's one way to fix the problem. That solves a whole lot of issues for us. Many of the next lines are not too particularly difficult, so we'll resume in the next video and finish our ASCII art.